Hello and welcome to NewsClick. Today we are going to discuss this phase of elections, mapping the elections with Seema Mustafa. Seema, this time, of course, we have the 40 seats going to elections in Tamil Nadu. This is one state which is going to see only one round of elections. Of course, there are a few more, but this one is a big one, 39 seats. We start with the Kanimori raids which have taken place yesterday. Again, raids, IT raids just before the elections?
Absolutely. I mean, they just did it a while ago. They've done like any number of raids, I think, in these elections.
There have been 11 such raids before the Kanimori one.
Yes.
And of course, they have included Tamil Nadu, they've included figures in TDP, they've included figures. They've been quite secular, except the BJP, shall we say, and its allies. Otherwise, it has been quite secular. Everybody has been targeted, except the left, and people know the left is not.
But stupid politics, and particularly for a state like Tamil Nadu, where the awareness is more, the education is more, and where the people are going to take, I mean, sitting here, we don't have yet the field reports, but one can take it for granted that they're going to actually be really angry with this. And she's going to get, and the DMK is going to get some bit of a sympathy vote on this, because they don't like the central intrusion. And Tamil Nadu is one of the few states which is very, very possessive about its federalism and its autonomy within the structure.
And also the timing.
Yes, absolutely. It's crude.
If the IT department thinks Kanimori has been evading taxes, okay, right? By all means, you're not saying don't.
You had 5 years. You had 5 years.
Exactly. You know. One day before the elections. Just one day before.
It shows a desperate BJP. It shows a certain crudeness of approach. It shows a certain thinking where only by intimidation you feel comfortable. So that's what you're trying to do to an opponent whose graph is on the rise. The DMK is expected to do far better. I mean, considering it didn't do much at all last election. But maybe, the whole tide seems to be turning in favor of Stalin and his party.
Before we go to the DMK and the Tamil Nadu elections, let's also talk about the Election Commission. Election Commission had told the IT department that you have to be neutral during this elections, electoral phase, shall we say. And it had also said, take permission from us, inform us before you do the raids. IT department in its reply did not talk about giving intimation to the Election Commission. They kept completely silent on it. And they more or less quite dismissively wrote to the Election Commission that essentially saying that what you're saying is nonsense.
See, this is the message that the Election Commission sends out. I mean, at Sessions' time, it went a little wonky and a little weird and a bit authoritarian. But there is a message that every election commissioner has to send out that I'm strong, I'm independent, and I am going to take action regardless. Unfortunately, the Election Commission this time is not being able to send out that message simply because on all issues, a verdict or a ruling from it is literally being dragged by the opposition or by people who have complained that what are you doing?
This particular case on the issue of the 4 leaders who have been now given some, shall we say, punishment, even though it may not be a very major one, that you're making communal statements. Yogi
no, and it's strange. I mean, it was all started with Yogi because he was the first, I think, from this whole thing.
Well, it could be argued.
Well, whatever. But you finally, why aren't you just doing it case by case? Why do you feel, as the Election Commission, that you are seeking some kind of refuge in numbers where you have some of the BJP and some of the opposition?
It's worse. They went to court saying we are toothless. When Gogoi, the Chief Justice, said, if you are toothless, can we have the Chief Election Commissioner coming and telling us this? And then the action comes, and again Gogoi has made that quip, the Chief Justice has made that quip. You seem to have suddenly discovered some tooth. Some teeth. Okay. So the point is, there is 324 of the Act which has powers given to the Election Commission, which is what Session utilized, where there is no other law barring their action. They're allowed to take action.
Absolutely.
And all Election Commission has used that provision for taking action.
Yes, and even in times when you had a weak Election Commissioner, I don't want to think, he still managed not to be as partisan and still manage to give out some signals that, okay, I am treating everyone with an equal hand. Somehow there's a dip in that trust and confidence. And when that happens, then obviously IT department is going to ignore the body which should be right on top of these elections.
And of course, the other major issue the Election Commission has yet to respond, the use of the army and the forces, the Serv Jawans in electioneering, which the Prime Minister has been openly doing.
Yes.
He has been asking vote in the name
I
of
mean,
Balakot
you've had
people.
generals and veterans write about it. You have them they've written columns on it. They have written a letter to the President of India saying that do not allow this politicization. And even so, they are being targeted, they are being named. And now you're going to tell us that senior military officials who have presided over, who've been part of the so-called defense of the nation are suddenly now traitors.
Including the surgical strike,
Yes,
General Diasuda. I would also like to draw your attention to another incident. If you remember, the BSF Jawan who protested against the kind of rations that were given was sacked. Okay, he's now standing for elections. Varanasi is the Prime Minister.
Yes.
And about 1,000 Jawans ex-Jawans have actually given him support, have come out in Banaras to vote. Of course, it's symbolic, we know that. But the point is, here are the Jawans actually on the ground, who are the ones also who have laid down their lives in Pulwama.
No.
And this is what the treatment to them has been. And I also like you to think about what has already come. The CISF, there was no even pretense of training against these kind of attacks.
See, in the military, what is happening is very clear. You have had professional people of integrity who have never been really in politics. You never heard of them before. Many of them you're hearing of now, except in their professional capacity. There is a fight now to preserve the true professionalism of the military as against those in government and officials and military officers who are actually taking a partisan and a biased position. So if you're with us, you're a nationalist military, and if you're not, then what happens?
You're a traitorous military. It's also
You're messing around with one institution that is so important. You messed around with all institutions.
But this is particularly important because it's also an armed institution.
Absolutely.
So this is really, at the end of it, the
and you can't divide it, and you can't make a huge section of military men and personnel feel that we are not recognized simply because we want to be professional and don't want to be part of any political structure.
Coming back to our topic of the elections, the Tamil Nadu elections today, that, the last time it was an AIADMK sweep, that 37 seats out of 39, 1 seat going to BJP. This time the AIADMK and BJP are in alliance, but there is no Jayalalitha. Do you expect that AIADMK would become really a small force, because a major section of the AIADMK seems to have shifted to other groups?
Yes, it seems like that, and the reports that are coming out from Tamil Nadu is definitely showing a major tilt towards DMK and some of the other groups.
Yes, you're talking about Stalin's ascendancy.
Yes, and I think what Karunanidhi did was a very clever thing. He knew that, the legacy is so strong, that it would be very difficult to bring in Stalin right at the end. So he had anointed him a long time before. And today, in these elections, you can say that Stalin has actually come into his own. He is the accepted leader now of the DMK. He's calling the shots. He's showing a certain independence in decision making that was not always as visible as, say, a few years ago. So this is a major plus, and he is accepted by the DMK cadres. So I think we're going to have some fun in Tamil Nadu.
And the ADMK cadre does not seem to have accepted those who are now running the ADMK.
In fact, I met somebody from ADMK who said, well, not this time, but one day Shashikala will rule. So, maybe she will. When she comes out, she'll get all that sympathy factor, and maybe she will in some elections.
But it does seem that this state, at least, is going completely against the BJP alliance, which is in this case the BJP and ADMK.
Yes, I think most of the South is like that, except for Karnataka, where the BJP is alive and trying very hard for a seat or so in Kerala. But there's a seat here and a seat there. But somehow you get that feeling that the South has closed its doors to what it sees as this very, very essentially North Indian, Hindi-speaking cowbelt party.
That's true. The BJP has probably not struck any resonance.
It's not in Telangana, it's not in Andhra Pradesh, it's
except
not
in Karnataka, certain
except
areas.
Karnataka.
And also the fact, of course, that some of these parties who are not identifying with BJP, of course, are keeping their options open post-elections. But at least in the election, at the moment, BJP somehow is the kiss of death in these states. Looks like it.
I mean, altogether, yeah, 40 seats.
40 seats. Maharashtra is now the biggest state after
Yeah.
UP. It's bigger than Bihar. This state makes a huge difference. Last elections, the Shiv Sena and the BJP had 36 seats. And the INC and the Congress and the NCP, Sharad Pawar, had 12. Do you think the figures are going to be broadly similar this time? Change?
Yes. The reports again, the Congress itself is thinking of 12 to 18 seats. The upper limit is 18, which I don't see really at this moment. But you know, Maharashtra is interesting because it's got a lot of things happening this time. Last few years, you had the Shiv Sena fighting the BJP, right? And then last moment, Uddhav Thackeray came into alliance with the BJP. But the cadres who have been used to this vitriol against the BJP and the BJP cadres who've been smarting under this attack are not working well in several constituencies. So, you know, you had a situation, I think Aurangabad, our reporter was telling us that the people there are saying, oh, we will not vote BJP, we will not vote for the Shiv Sena, even we might vote for an Owaisi candidate, but we will not vote for the Shiv Sena. So there's that kind of anger, even though the seats have been allocated. So there is that division, which they have not really been able to mend on the fence, on the ground, because there's been a amazing level of bitterness. I mean, if you remember that Uddhav Thackeray's attack on Modi was more vicious than the attack from the opposition at times.
I would put it stronger, not vicious. But anyway, leaving that out. But of course, as we know, the NCP, the Congress also have their own divisions. And they have also supposedly put up candidates who are not that strong. Better seats,
They don't have candidates.
Better selection. Apparently, they could have found better ones, but irrespective of that. But also the fact that the smaller parties, there are different parties over there, some seat adjustment with the left could have been possible, with the Peasant and Workers' Party over there. Then also other small parties.
No, but it's interesting. It's interesting. The Congress has almost opted out. And from what we hear, that Rahul Gandhi had several meetings with Sharad Pawar, the NCP chief, who's the old man, who's not contesting these elections because of supposedly family accommodating various members of his family. But the other reason is that he's basically now in charge of the election, both for the Congress and for the NCP. So he's the guy who's setting it out. He's the master strategist. In his strategy, always, the Shiv Sena has played a role. So this time it's not Uddhav Thackeray, but it's the MNS, Raj Thackeray. And he is working very closely with Raj Thackeray in these elections to help some of the key candidates win. So it's interesting. And then on the other side, you have this little grouping of Owaisi and Prakash Ambedkar. Prakash Ambedkar and Owaisi, both two opportunists, basically seen as BJP acolytes.
No, Prakash Ambedkar has
had
a
much, in this election.
Much more.
In this election.
They are seen to be splitters,
Yeah.
but it could be argued. You see, Owaisi has a very mixed record. In fact, friends in Hyderabad would say he has always been splitting in order to help the right, the BJP.
Always.
But Prakash Ambedkar has had a rather, shall we say, very different political
Yes, so that's why it's very interesting. Why did he suddenly discard all that and go with Owaisi?
That is one. But the second part of it was the Congress in its election, shall we say, tactics. unwilling to accommodate people like Prakash Ambedkar and, as I said, other groups. It's not the only one. There are other groups over there who also they don't seem to have finally accommodated.
Well, then if that's the
splitting
reason,
of
then
the
it's a
vote.
good, I mean, then it's an understandable reason and sort of sets him off the hook. Because right now the campaign one hears is that he's also sort of working closely with the BJP, and I hope it isn't true. Because he's had a politics in the past, like you
Not
said.
only that, Teltumbre is his brother-in-law.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
unless you say he's been cowed into submission, I wouldn't really think that is a
I don't
major
think he would
reason.
be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't think that would be a major reason. But I do feel that if we take what the Congress has done in what we discussed in UP, what is discussed in different
Absolutely.
places,
Absolutely.
that
It's just-
this is also a strategy of the Congress not to really give space to smaller regional parties. And what we were discussing on UP, that in that sense the BJP's strategy of leaving seats for the smaller parties has paid off for BJP relative to what the Congress
No,
has done this time.
fortunately, in the states that matter, the local regional parties have been able to stitch up alliances.
Where they are strong.
Wherever they are strong.
They are stronger.
Where they
But
are.
Maharashtra is where the Congress
Exactly.
is strong.
And wherever the Congress is strong, whether it's Rajasthan, whether it's Maharashtra or Madhya Pradesh, where it's, the main party, where there is no regional party really stronger than it, it's not. It almost seems to be giving up the election in Gujarat. Whatever the momentum was before the assembly election last time has completely disappeared. One is not even hearing about this guy.
Yes.
About this party.
Yes, the Congress seems to be more on the back foot now,
Yes.
for reasons which are not clear. But coming back to, again, election alliances, if the BSP had been an ally with the Congress in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, we have shown one time, if you remember
Yeah.
the discussion
Yeah,
we
yeah.
had, they would have got 10 to 15 additional seats, the Congress and these parties.
Yes, see that too.
They will not get any seats. Without Congress, obviously Mayawati doesn't get any seat in Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan. But if they come together, they make a difference of 10 to 15
For
seats.
me, in the whole process of coalition, there's a message. There's a very, very strong message from coalitions of federalism, which is very much in the character of the Constitution. So sometimes you might get those 5 seats or 10 seats extra. You might not get them. You might get just an increased vote share. But the message, the political message that you're sending out is very, very important in today's times when there's authoritarianism, where we talk of one party or two parties, where the federal parties are feeling squeezed, where there is that that total attack, as we just discussed with IT raids on the regional parties,
As well.
as well. So I think the whole message of stitching together coalitions would have been very, very important in a post-election scenario in 2019. Unfortunately, the Congress has, in a very deliberate strategy, given that up.
Thank you very much, Seema, for mapping the elections with us. Hope to continue this till the elections are over. This is all the time we have for NewsClick today. Do keep watching NewsClick.